to our breaking news, that catastrophic bridge collapse in Baltimore. A cargo ship slamming into the Francis Scott Key Bridge overnight, sending people and vehicles into the river below. Right now, search and rescue teams are scouring the water for these 6 people who are still missing. The NTSB set to give an update on the situation in the next hour. We're going to keep our eye on that, bring it to you as it happens. But in the meantime, let's bring in CNN's Tom Foreman. Tom, give us a sense of just how big this was and all of the dynamics that were at play.
Well, the ship itself is a little bit longer than 3 football fields, so this is a big, hefty piece of it. Without any cargo, it weighs almost 100,000 tons. With the cargo, it gets much heavier than that. So tremendous amount of power here. We know that it was moving out from here from Point Breezy around this way. It came down, did about 9 miles an hour when it made impact down here. So that's an idea of what was going on. You'll notice that little swerve right there. There's going to be a lot of looking at that. Why did this happen? Because that's what took it off the course that would have had it going really much more where ships should go, which is right here. This is where it diverged from that. So we'll find out what that meant as we move on. But we know also that the bridge itself, substantial bridge here. 1.6 miles in length, quite a big distance, very, very busy bridge. And we know that the bridge basically seemed to be in good shape, last inspected in 2021, and at the time it was rated fair.
And I'm noticing we're talking about the traffic obviously going under the bridge, but there is traffic on the bridge as well.
Yeah, there is, and typically under the bridge, 9th largest port for international cargo, a lot of things moving out of there. Over the bridge, yeah, 30,000 vehicles cross this bridge per day. All indications are this idea that there was some warning from the ship may have helped. The hour also helped, being 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's a really early hour, so that may have helped. A tremendous artery here for vehicles to cross. But in terms of the cargo it carries, look, they're going to be first in the nation in terms of auto and light truck imports, cars coming in and out of there. Huge impact there. Farm equipment, sugar imports, coal exports, and hazardous materials have been typically carried over here. That was an outgrowth of what happened after 9/11. So a lot of things have to be rerouted here. A lot of things have to be finished out. First of all, we have to get past the human tragedy of all of this. But this impact of a ship that size, this is like taking the Chrysler building, tipping it over sideways, and then ramming it into a bridge. Big, big impact there. Repairing it, that will be job number 1 once we get past the human tragedy of this.
Right.
Possibly restore all these things. In the meantime, they've all got to go some other way.
We're going to have to go around, and we're looking live at what it looks like as we speak. They continue to search for those 6 missing people. Tom Foreman, thanks so much for bringing that to us. Boris?
Let's get some more perspective on all of this now with structural engineer Matthew Robles. Matthew, thank you so much for being with us. When you hear the details of what happened, when you watch that video of the incident, what most stands out to you from what you see?
Well, what I see is that load redistribution going on. It hit it right in the right spot, and that load redistribution going on the other parts of the bridge that aren't designed to carry that load. This bridge was built in 1977, way before any of the vehicle collision standards were adopted. So, you know, it makes me think about how many other bridges out there that are vulnerable.
Yeah, that is a good point. I wonder if this ship had perhaps struck a different part of the bridge, would you say that it would make it less likely that we would see this kind of devastation?
Yes, 100%. I think had it been able to avoid the column and hit one of the arch beams or something like that, I don't think you would have seen this type of collapse. Perhaps the collapse would have happened between the main structures, but it hit it right in the one portion that's holding it up. And the one thing with these bridges, we got to remember, they're long span. So you have very few supports. So one of those goes, you saw what happened.
Right. So a lot of bridges have what are known as fenders to protect these kinds of portions of the structure from impact with vessels. There's actually a photo from the Golden Gate Bridge, built in 1937 in San Francisco, and it has fenders. How come this bridge didn't have that? Do you think they might have been effective in a scenario like this?
You know, I can't speculate on that because maybe, you know, the fenders take up a lot of space and perhaps it would restrict the waterway there. But it should be noted that just about a year ago, they did a study on the I-40 bridge And that was their one major recommendation on preventing vessel collisions, was to put fenders around the major supports. And had there been fenders there, had there been a secondary system to catch it before it hit anything, we wouldn't have this today.
I'm curious to get your perspective on something that President Biden said about getting a new bridge installed. It's obviously going to be an enormous and difficult process, and it may be difficult to speculate, but walk us through some of the challenges, and once the scene is cleared, reconstructing or rebuilding a bridge of this size.
Well, the first thing that's gonna take the most time, honestly, is to clear out all of the debris and everything that's there. The design is going to take time, and then just obtaining the materials is going to take time. And so your biggest obstacle is going to be clearing everything out that's already there. And I think that we have a great military, we have a great National Guard. I'm thinking that that they may go out there and maybe be able to put up a temporary bridge like you would do in a wartime or something like that to keep the traffic flowing, because as all your other guests have said, is so critical to the economy.
Yeah, it is going to be a challenging path forward, no matter how it's handled. Matthew Robles, appreciate the time. We have to leave the conversation there.
Thank you very much.
Of course.